The time has come to unveil the secrets of the haunted city. Call of Cthulhu Arkham is the definitive guide to the signature setting of Call of Cthulhu and was used during the writing of the Graveyards of Arkham story. This hardcover tome details a sandbox campaign setting, over 250 locations, and more than 80 fully fledged NPCs ready to drop into your story of mythos horror. Find all this and much more in Call of Cthulhu Arkham, available now from Chaosium.com or from your friendly local game store. Greetings, gentle viewer, and welcome back to Graveyards of Arkham. My name is Mark Meer, and it is my grim pleasure to serve as your keeper of arcane lore. But of course, a keeper is nothing without their players. So let's meet mine.
I'm Josephine McAdam, playing Detective Vic Mason.
Patrick Logan as Dr. Archibald Desmond.
I'm Lucia Versprille, and I'm playing Theodore Holt.
And I'm Noura Ibrahim, and I play Big Betty Briggs.
Players, you're currently at the Whitechapel Nursing Home, in the room of Mrs. McLuhan. You followed some leads and discovered the case files of Dr. James Raven, who treated Mrs. McLuhan. You decided to see the lady herself, see if anything could be gleaned. She is certainly in no condition to converse with you. Her face, as mentioned, is twisted into a mask of rage. Her eyes blank, glassy, vacant. She's straining against the chains which restrain her.
I turn to the nurses and say, what is her first name?
The nurses look between each other, and one of them, the head nurse, says, I believe, yes, Rachel, I believe.
I get just out of arm's reach of her. Rachel? My name is Dr. Archibald Desmond. Can you understand me at all? And
it's not so much that she responds to you, more that she seems to be responding to movement and the sound of your voice, as she immediately lunges, stretching at the length of her chain, clawing at you.
Doctor, if you're going to do something, go ahead.
I look very deeply into the glazed over eyes on her face. I'm looking for any sign, any semblance of consciousness in there, anything still beating humanity.
Are you effectively attempting a psychology roll?
Be psychology or psychoanalysis.
Interesting. Psychoanalysis will take a slightly more in-depth examination, and usually it's conducted over the course of weeks. But give me a psychology roll immediately.
Cool. Failure. I'm going to use 12 points of luck to make that a success.
There doesn't seem to be anything remotely human or reachable within this shell. You in particular, given elements of your history, have seen something similar, and you are painfully reminded of it.
Turn to the nurses and I had been observing Dr. Raven's notes. I'll need to confer with my colleagues in private with her for a moment, if you wouldn't mind, but I believe I can cure this woman.
She's been here for nearly 5 years.
To be fair, you've never had a doctor from Edinburgh, have you?
I suppose we haven't. I think this is going to call for a persuade, or perhaps charm, if you'd like to employ a different tack.
Neither of those things. Charm failure.
I'm afraid not. doctor, and you can hear the quotation marks around doctor. Now then, I think visiting hours are over.
Miss Price, if I might. Your mother came up to my bed and breakfast a little bit ago, didn't she? I will be honest, I see so many folks all the time, but I do remember her visiting me a couple of times.
Give me luck again.
Why?
You've been knocking those out of the park.
Luck, success.
Oh, the Holt bed and breakfast?
That's me, yeah.
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, she did.
You know, she could not stop talking about you. She was so proud of her little Dorothy for making it all the way here and taking care of all of these folks.
Oh, well, that's nice of you to say. I don't see how it's pertinent to the situation.
Oh, I was going to mention, actually, that when your mother came to visit, Dr. Desmond was there as well, and they had a wonderful chat.
She didn't mention that.
Well, it was sort of personal, I think, for her, but maybe that's some discussion that the two of you could have. Maybe get to know her a bit better.
This will be persuade, then. Or charm, if you prefer.
I would prefer a charm, if you will allow it. Success.
All right. I suppose, well, you can't do any worse than we have thus far.
Just a couple of minutes, if you wouldn't mind.
She gives you a nod. She stares at you without smiling, doesn't really acknowledge either Vic or Betty, and mutters to herself as she leaves, "Oh, I suppose I have plenty to do. I'll be back soon."
Thanks so much.
Meanwhile, through all of this, Mrs. McLuhan has been trying to get at all of you. So it's been a little odd carrying on this fairly casual conversation while the sounds and flying spittle from Mrs. McLuhan have been constant.
All right, Doc, what the heck's going on here? Because if I'm not the only one observing the fact that this old lady's got way more strength than an old lady should have, otherwise she wouldn't be chained up, which is also weird. So what is it that you're seeing?
I've seen this before. Not this, but the emptiness of humanity, the lack of anything, bearing a soul. People being caged in their own bodies by malevolent evil. I've seen it. She's been left here, chained to the wall like an animal, while an oppressive force has essentially imprisoned her soul. I can't leave her like this.
Well, ain't you gonna be able to help her? Or is there nothing you could do?
I can help her pass peacefully.
I don't know, Doc.
Yes, I'm not too sure of this either.
This isn't a strain or a disease. This isn't even a malady of the mind. This is something
There must be some explanation. No? You've never seen some sort of answer to this? Some sort of medication you could give her that might give her some clarity? Or you've seen this before and there was no answer?
Beyond the natural sciences.
What do you mean beyond the natural sciences?
When I was at war, I was in the Royal Army Medical Corps, and most of the time there was nothing we could do. We were understaffed and undersupplied, and it was a constant strain. But one day, a woman wrapped in shawls came in. I couldn't see any part of her past her eyes. Floated into the camp almost, and looked down left a dead soldier on the table. Young man. No one seemed to notice her except for me. And as she whisked over to him, she simply knelt down over the body and breathed life into him. I know, he was dead. He was dead. And I watched them both stand, rise, and leave. I thought that I had seen a modern Lazarus. I thought that I had seen a miracle performed in front of me. When the war was over, I pursued this woman deep into the kingdom of Yugoslavia. What I found was not a miracle, the work of a devil. Scores of people surrounding this woman, the souls that left their eyes. They all turned and moved as one. It wasn't quite what we're seeing now. But there's a difference between someone who's mentally ill and someone who has been gripped by evil beyond our comprehension. And that's her. I know that it's all beyond us, but even what little I feel we have seen, if you are all against this, I will proceed no further, and I will let the matter drop. But
Do you think that Wallace would have ended up like this? If it had been longer?
maybe, I don't know.
We don't know what we're dealing with here.
I say do it.
I think, as much as it pains me to say, I've seen things that I could not explain, and all that has happened is more and more things that we cannot explain by any scientific means or logic or reason has come before us, and I'm inclined to believe this insanity, this folly that you suggest, as wild as it may seem. Though I do not think I can stay.
I understand. I don't ask anyone to be an accomplice. I just ask that.
Yeah, I don't want a part of this. I ain't making life decisions on something I don't know and I don't understand.
I understand.
Do as you must, Doctor. And step out of the room.
Yeah.
I'm gonna also step out, but I'm gonna hang right next to the wall, next to the door.
What is your plan?
I reach into my medical kit. I pull out a syringe of morphine. And if I need to get close in order to do this, take the damage necessary, I would like to attempt to inject her with it.
Very well. She's clearly not going to be cooperative.
No, I understand.
And what's more, this will essentially be a brawl attack, I think, using the improvised weapon of this syringe, which you've just filled with morphine from a vial that you had in your bag. So let's see how that goes, shall we?
Okay. Brawl check.
Check brawl.
Failure. I'm going to push it.
All right, try push it.
Okay. Success.
Success. And though Mrs. McLuhan, or as you suspect, the former Mrs. McLuhan, is thrashing wildly and is trying to counter, oh, that's quite a good success. The syringe is smashed from your hand, and you are actually going to take some damage from this.
Is it
2
what it
points
is?
of damage.
Understood.
As you were grappling with her and trying to get the syringe into her, her skin is cold to the touch. And I don't think you would have been able to get a pulse, really, just grappling, but yes. Cold, like a corpse.
I don't feel there's a way I can try again on this.
No, that syringe is smashed on the ground.
Okay.
And in fact, the noise, you in the hall can see the nurse returning.
Jeez, let's get out of
I
there.
scramble back to my feet
Yeah.
and then leave.
Yeah, I'll peek the door back open. I'll be like, Doctor, we gotta go.
The nurse is basically arriving as you're leaving the room. What's going on? Now, when you exit the room, you are quite disheveled, having been in this scuffle, and in fact, you have quite a nasty scratch running down your cheek. You're quite sore as well. And what do you say to this nurse?
I was unable to administer treatment. Unfortunately, I underestimated how much of a state she was in.
Yeah, well, we're very careful with her, so maybe leave it to the experts, doctor. Once again, heavily surrounded by quotation marks.
Thank you so much for your expert opinion. We'll be leaving now.
I certainly will not be going to the Holt Bed and Breakfast anytime soon, I can tell you that much.
Well, at least Yelp doesn't exist in the 1920s, so it's fine.
It's true, Yelp does not exist in the 1920s.
Thank you for your time, nurse.
She seems hurt that you've put quotation marks around this. But you can also see a couple of large orderlies moving down the hallway.
Let's
All
make
right.
our way.
Yep, we're going. Yep.
You all right, Doctor?
No.
What happened in there?
Just another failure.
We cannot always find the answers that we seek, try
Doctor,
as we might.
would you care to administer first aid to yourself?
I can do that as we're walking and talking.
Physician, heal thyself. Bit of iodine on a piece of gauze.
Success.
Very well, you can regain 1 hit point.
I'm sorry. Thank you for understanding, and thank you for allowing me to attempt it at least. All of you.
You find yourselves outside Whitechapel Nursing Home. And you've received a fair bit of information from the notes of Dr. Raven. You do know, of course, from your talk with Dr. Peabody, the coroner, that your friend Wallace Phillips' heart did not simply fail. It was missing, entirely absent from his chest cavity. And there was a similar case years ago with Richard McLuhan, the husband of Mrs. McLuhan. Mrs. McLuhan apparently went on some sort of retreat before her death and was sent to this care home, and you've seen the state that she is in currently. Her treatment was by Dr. Raven, whose notes you had studied. And Dr. Raven had specifically mentioned someone named Socrates in his notes. Now, this did trigger some memories of a plaque you'd seen at the Arkham Athenaeum Club. Dr. Raven himself died of what was described as heart failure about 5 years ago. What is your next step?
If we're going over the things that we read about, there's some new procedure or new thing that
Herbert West.
right.
Yes. Apparently, Mrs. McLuhan's state can be attributed to research conducted by Dr. Herbert West. But this avenue was apparently abandoned in favor of a new method, which was also mentioned.
Right.
And this Socrates, whoever they may be, was the one who proposed this to Dr. Raven.
And so this guy mentions this guy Socrates
Yes.
several times here. And what we did see when we were in the Athenaeum was that coat check area that had all those philosophers. And I'm thinking if all these people are hush-hush about something, then this Socrates is probably one of these guys that frequents this place.
Indeed, Betty. Have you ever thought of detective work for yourself?
Oh, no, I stay away from cops and such. This is, I guess, a new hobby, maybe?
Doctor, as your friends are talking, and I perhaps should have done this slightly earlier, but I think it's taken a moment for this to sink in. Could I please have a sanity check?
Oh, yeah. Failure.
Oh.
Very well. I'm afraid you owe me 3 points of sanity.
But before we do anything, Doctor, are you sure you're all right?
Doctor, you're more convinced than ever. That woman, though she was moving, she was dead.
I'll be fine. Every moment we spend not solving this is another moment for another woman to end up like that.
Right.
So,
To the Athenaeum Club, then, you would like to look into... Yes, I see the connection with Socrates, and perhaps finding out what this research that was being done that may have led to Miss McLuhan's state.
yes.
That should about wrap up our day. We can head back to the apartment and see if Peter dropped off that address information.
Indeed,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So your plan is first to...
The Athenaeum, and then the apartment.
Yes. As it happens, you're moving from the Whitechapel nursing home, and your destination is the Arkham Athenaeum Club. Wallace Phillips' apartment is on Gedney Street here in the Terrace Buildings Apartments. So you actually pass the street that the apartment is on the way to the Athenaeum. On that street, as the four of you are heading towards the Athenaeum, you hear yourselves being called. Oh, hello! Hello? And you see, rushing down the street towards you, Peter Simpson, the clerk, who you'd asked to look into the address which you dropped the body at.
Hi, sweetheart.
Oh, hello. Yes, I was just on my way to see you, Miss Holt, and all your friends.
Oh, wonderful. Do you have that information for us?
I do, as a matter of fact. I don't mean to disturb you. You're not actually going home, are you? As he realizes that you're not quite heading in the direction.
It's totally all right. I would just love that information. You're such a sweetheart. Thank you so much for getting that.
Oh, not at all. That's, yes, he pulls some papers from his valise and begins ruffling through them. He puts something away that looks like a shopping list. It's like, oh, sorry, no, that's mine. Here we go. Yes, so the information about the address you were looking for, 603, as he's reading it off the page, 603 East Derby Street. Yes, the residence in Easttown, which you mentioned, is the Dinsley House. According to our records, it belonged to a Mr. Thomas Dinsley. He sadly passed about 6 years ago, and the house passed to his wife, one Nellie Dinsley. I did attempt to find information on her, but I found no record of her. I suppose it's possible she moved away or remarried after Mr. Dinsley's passing. Is that sufficient?
Yes, that's wonderful information. Thank you so much, Peter.
Yes, of course. I can continue to dig if you want. Like I say, preliminary inquiries on Nellie Dinsley. I didn't have the required time, but.
Wait, so Nellie doesn't live there anymore, or she hasn't been seen there?
Right, the house isn't occupied?
I don't know that. We don't have that in our records.
They haven't received any mail?
No, not that I'm aware of. Doesn't seem to be. Is the house for sale? Were you interested in purchasing it?
I think that's a perfect amount of sleuthing that you've done for us, Peter. We'll continue doing any information collecting ourselves, I think.
Oh.
I just wanted to get that sweater back from there, but if Nellie isn't there, then maybe it won't be there. But I'll go by and check.
Of course. Well, good day to you, and perhaps we'll run into each other again.
Yes. Have a good day, Peter.
Oh, thank you.
I'll also, while he's heading out, I'll hand him $2.
That's not necessary. I mean,
Just get yourself something nice, okay?
oh, I could get myself several nice things with this. Thank you. And he hurries off.
I just cleaned that dirty money that I received.
See, laundering money through bribes.
All right.
yeah.
I'll look the other way.
In short order, as you can see, Wallace's apartment is actually not that far from the Athenaeum Club. You find yourselves back on the street out front, and when you enter, as expected, you see the elderly Philip Ingalls by his table at the door, the doorman. He is, when you come in, he seems to be trying to polish up his little gold frogging there, the little epaulets and whatnot. Like, hello, back again, I see. To visit the library, I assume. We have quite the extensive collection.
Yeah, real studious. We're working on a project, history project.
Oh, history. Well,
Yeah.
well, Arkham is a storied burg, let me tell you.
That's right. So I hear. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, well, I'll be honest, a bit of the rheumatiz acting up. And, well, I'm not sure my guts are quite what they used to be, but they haven't been for years.
Gut troubles,
I've got
huh?
a bit of a rash down here. I'd show you, but I'd have to
Doctor?
take off
Nah,
my
I'm
coat.
good.
You don't think you
right.
could help the man?
That's a good point.
Slightly dyspeptic, I would say.
Oh, wow. That's a whole lot of information I did not
I
think
haven't
you were
been
going to
sleeping well.
disclose.
That is
Listen,
absolutely fascinating. If you wouldn't mind, actually. I am
you're a doctor.
I am indeed, sir.
Yeah, I see by that bag.
Yes,
Carry on.
and I am a little curious and a bit worrisome of your symptoms. If you wouldn't mind, I can take some time to look at you and give you a proper diagnosis.
Oh, all right. I'm not sure I can undress here. We'd have to...
It won't be necessary. It won't be a complete undressing. But
Yes.
you got a whole lot of problems, huh?
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
This,
Oh,
Sure, you could just step
litany.
in.
yeah, this might take, say, 20 to 30 minutes would be enough time.
Sure, yeah, at least.
Plenty of time for learning.
At least enough time.
Sounds like
You
so
should
much
really
is going
take
on.
advantage of having a nice young doctor here to,
yes, of
you know.
course.
Yes, so show me this rash that you have.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll just roll this up here.
All right.
Now, what research are you conducting?
Well, we're working on a history paper, and also because it's also health related, we're looking on the cases of diseases and also droughts and also farming, and I'm just like naming off a whole bunch of
Yes,
different.
yes.
Oh, yes.
But I would like
You
to
know,
ask.
I think you need a member to take you in, but we do have a rather interesting display on the pestilence of 1705.
I heard about that, and that's kind of what started this whole thing.
So I'm afraid I can't leave my post.
That's fine.
But perhaps a member, if you're acquainted with any of our membership.
Oh, that rash looks
Yeah.
really bad. You should have the doctor continue
Oh,
looking
yeah,
at
do you have a
it.
salve
You
of
wouldn't
some
mind.
kind? Maybe an ointment,
So many.
a tincture,
So many.
an unguent of some kind.
You'll have to
I'm out
hand
of
make it
unguents,
for you.
but I have so many tinctures.
I do like an unguent.
Yeah.
Wait, is he at a desk, or is
Yeah.
there any sort of?
He's at a little
Okay.
desk.
If you wouldn't mind us just signing the guest book, since we're, guests in this.
Oh, yes, that is required, of course. Here you go.
And I would like to take that. I'm signing some fake names, but I would like to look to see who was there on the previous day that we were.
Yes. I'm not going to make you roll for this. It's like he seems distracted and
Yeah.
you're leafing through this page. You're looking for probably familiar names, yes?
Both familiar, unfamiliar. I just want to see who was there the day that we were also
Yes. Well, leafing back through it, you do spot. Give me a spot hidden. Since I said the word spot in that sentence.
there. That is a success
Very good.
on the spot hidden.
Lovely. On your roll 20 character sheet.
On my roll 20 character sheet.
Lovely. Question, Doctor. Are you legitimately examining this
Might
rash?
as well.
Give me medicine.
Oh no.
Oh, it's a failure.
I don't know.
But will he know the difference?
It's the 1920s. I rub some garlic on it.
You're like, I mean, it seems to be eczema, but you're not sure. It's a bit more flaky than usual. It's Yeah, there's some odd smells. Meanwhile, your successful spot hidden, you do spot a couple of familiar names on there. You see Holbrook and Tillinghast. And you are quite sure those gentlemen were there because, of course, their wives were. They said that they were meeting their husbands, and you didn't see them, but you did actually hear some voices approaching. So that's confirmation of that.
While this is happening, is the Socrates coat hanger full of stuff?
It is indeed. These names of famous philosophers above these hat and coat hooks with the cubby holes beneath for gloves and hats and that sort of thing, walking sticks. Socrates is currently occupied with a black coat, and there is a hat hanging there as well.
While that's happening, can I sort of like motion for Vic to kind of come with me to look at this coat rack? And I'm gonna take my jacket off, and I'm gonna try and like motion that I'm gonna hang my coat at the same time if you can take the other coat off.
Switcheroo.
Oh, well, you know, Philip's an old man, but he can do spot hidden as well. He looks over at you and he's like, oh, I'm afraid those are reserved. You see...
For who?
Well, as you can see, for Socrates and Plato, and well, it's a funny story. You see, when members reach a certain seniority within the club, they are permitted to take one of those names. You see, it's a mark of respect.
Well,
of
then
course,
who's Socrates?
Oh, well, they've been passed down from hand to hand over the years. Yes, now, the Platos are the ones I can speak to the most, the vice presidents of the organization. Our current Plato is Mr. Tillinghast, though when I started here, it was Mr. Braithwaite. Kenneth, his first name was, as I recall. He was succeeded by Mr. Parsons, who didn't last very long. He moved away, I believe, and then Mr. Tallman.
But I don't want to be a Plato, I want to be a Socrates, so I want to know who I would have to... if I were to join, of course.
Well, Socrates, yes. Well, that would be Mr. Holbrook. Now, he's the president of our organization currently, and Socrates is the name reserved for that office. You see, now, where was I? Oh, yes, Mr. Tallman. The funny thing about Mr. Tallman is he was actually quite small. Yes, diminutive, I would say. And Mr. Tallman was with us for quite a while, and then Mr. Pickleby did not last very long. He was caught thieving, if you can believe it.
Oh my, what's this on your neck?
Oh, no. Do I have something on my neck?
Potentially.
My brother was prone to goiters.
Well, let's make sure you're not goitered up.
Yes.
So he sits down. And you can tell the fact that there is a coat hanging there. Mr. Holbrook is present.
Were there other names of note in the guest book?
Holbrook and Tillinghast were the
Just
two with your
two?
successful spot
Okay.
hidden that leapt out to you. You do see, there's a wide variety of names, and they're, prominent family names. There's probably many Marshes and Gilmans and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But those were the two that stood out to you. And he noted, going off that spot hidden, even while he's allowing the doctor to examine his neck, he's like, and as you can see, Mr. Holbrook is the current Socrates, and yes, unless he's left his coat overnight, he's currently here. I believe he's in the drawing room. Of course, you can't go in there, members only, but I could fetch him if you like.
I actually have a question for you, Philip. How do you prove that you're part of the club? Is it a pin or what do you check at the door?
Yes, there are pins and there are rings, and I believe there is a blazer with the crest emblazoned upon it. Yes, and there's all manner of merchandise that we
So if I had any of those things, you would allow me in to the drawing room?
Oh, no, of course. I'm familiar with all the members of our club.
Wonderful.
How long has Mr. Holbrook been the Socrates?
Oh, several years now. Several years, yes.
Who'd he take over for?
Let me see. I believe that was Mr. Shaver was beforehand. No, Mr. Williamsburg. Yes, Mr. Williamsburg before that. And Mr. Holbrook has, of course, been in the role for a good couple of years, and he's done remarkably well. He's been a fine leader of the organization.
Yeah, I hear his son's getting married.
Yes, young Cyrus. Yes. Handsome
Who's
lad.
the lucky lady? Because he's a fetching guy, right?
Oh, he certainly is. Yes, I'm not aware of the young lady's name. I think she may be from abroad. I'm not sure, or at least certainly not from Arkham. But I suppose Mr. Holbrook could answer that.
Answer what? As you look up in the hallway, Mr. Holbrook happens to be standing there.
Hey, Mr. Holbrook. We were just perusing, or about to peruse the library, but we heard your son was getting married. Congratulations. We didn't know that beforehand. We were at a funeral, not the right time, not appropriate.
Yes, of course, yes. Cyrus is getting married. Kind of you to inquire. Whirlwind romance.
Yes.
I barely know the girl myself, but
You don't say.
they are in love, and I look forward to welcoming her into the family.
I'm sure a woman of high society. I no doubt, seeing as how
Well-to-do, yes, of course. Not local.
What's her name then?
Her name is Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. No last name.
Jenkins.
Psychology.
Failure on my end, although it seems so obvious.
Heart success.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah, you're pretty sure he pulled that name out of his butt.
What a charming, popular name.
Yes, quite.
And then Elizabeth Jenkins, not from. Did you say she was? Never mind.
And so when's the marriage? Are you in full preparations? Must be
Yes.
An exciting
yes,
time.
we're quite. Might I have a word with the four of you? Thank you, Ingalls. That will be all. You may return to your desk, and please button up your coat.
Oh, yes, of course, sir. It's a bit of a rash.
Thank you, Ingalls. Ingalls returns to his desk, and he motions you to a side chamber.
Oh, we're not allowed to talk in the drawing room?
I'd prefer a little privacy.
Are you taking us on a fancy tour? Because we heard we can't get into
Yeah,
some of these
we've heard
places
that-
unless you're.
Yes,
We need
I'd
guidance.
just please come with me, all of you.
What can we do for you?
As he closes the door behind you. All right, what's this about?
What's what about?
Look, I'm not an idiot, all right? And I know when I've been caught in a fib.
What fib?
Elizabeth Jenkins.
Oh.
That fib. Okay.
You know, I can tell when I'm being lied to as well.
You're.
I wasn't trying to hide it. Personally.
This some sort of secret marriage that's happening? Or why the fib?
Look, this is potentially a bit of a scandal.
Oh, I see.
Cyrus, well, my boy really does have a mind of his own, and I advised him against it. But it seems, well, part of what I told you was true. Whirlwind romance and all of that, head over heels.
The youths these days.
Yes. Well, he didn't manage to fall head over heels with someone of his station.
Okay. I see where this is going.
Yes, in fact, the girl he's marrying is from Rivertown, if you can believe it.
Ain't you from Rivertown?
From Rivertown? Oh, good grief, no. What do you take me for? He seems very amused that you thought he was from Rivertown. He's like, no.
I kid. I mean, look at you. And your wife, so pretty, would never get her hands dirty in dishwater or whatever
Yes, and
other non-rich people do.
as you can imagine, we have a certain social standing to maintain. The girl he's marrying goes by the name of Anna Lund. She's Swedish, barely could speak a word of English, to be honest, or at least not well. And she is Cyrus's fiancée. We've been keeping it under wraps because the social scandal of Cyrus falling in love with some girl from the docks would really be too much. Perhaps we'd weather it, but I'd prefer not to. And Cyrus himself would never survive it. He's a young man with very delicate sensibilities. But ultimately, I am not one to stand in the way of love. So we have sent Anna off to a retreat. That is her name, Anna Lund. She's going to learn how to be a society wife, which forks to use, how to dress, and hopefully some better English, that sort of thing. And to get her away from that dangerous brother of hers. I'm not sure if you've heard, but he's involved in all sorts of shady business.
Oh, yeah, I heard her brother's a real prick. Hey, listen, if I was to go to this...
At the swear word, his eyebrows go into his hairline, but then slowly come back down.
If I was to want to go to this retreat, I want to be a high society lady. I mean, I know I'm big and burly, but you know what? I think I could clean up nice, and I think I could talk real good if I wanted to. So if I was to go to this retreat, am I able to go? I made a lot of money recently.
Well, maybe I'll have a word with Nancy about etiquette lessons, poise, that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, it's balancing books on the head, all of it. I want the whole 9 yards.
And you know about the balancing of books. Good.
This is very under wraps. You didn't think to perhaps let her work, no? Or, when we stopped by the soup kitchen and it seemed that they hadn't seen Anna in a
Soup
little
kitchen.
time.
The Daughters of Grace. Yes, I understand. She did volunteer there.
Anyone know that Anna would be going?
And what exactly was I to say? She's marrying my son, so she won't be able to sling soup to the vagrants?
No, but that
Well, at least
she's at
tell
a
her
retreat.
parents.
Yeah.
Ain't her parents know about this?
Well, I assumed she had informed them. Are you telling me they don't know?
Well, I don't know. I can't say that. I hadn't talked to them myself.
Well,
I would-
perhaps it's for the best, because loose lips sink ships and all that.
I would personally love to know the specific location of where she is so that we might deliver that information to her parents in case they don't have it.
Just tell them that she is safe, quite safe, and she will be returning to them better than ever.
I think you've offered us...
Don't expect them to be invited round for tea, though.
I think you've offered us very important information, however, so the specific location of the retreat would be important information for us to also know.
Again, I want to talk good and look pretty.
Exactly.
Now see here, Anna is perfectly safe, and she'll be returning soon for the wedding. End of story.
So what's wrong with the location specifically?
Certainly easy
I
to...
choose not to divulge that, thank you.
You've also chosen not to divulge her marriage to your son. That's
Yes,
certainly
for
something...
reasons which I made very clear.
That's certainly
now then,
something-
I certainly hope I can count on your discretion. If not, I have friends on the police force.
I'm sure you do.
Is that a threat?
You may consider it such.
We have a threat. We have a threat.
I have been very kind up until this point.
Oh, I see.
And
I assure you, Ingalls is not the only employee of this club, madam.
what is that supposed to mean?
It means that assistance will be rendered if I require it.
All we want to know is if Anna's all right. If we see that Anna's
I've
all
told
right...
you she is.
Yes, but without wanting to disclose her location, that seems a little odd, don't you think? A little hard to believe. So perhaps that
What
simple bit of
exactly
information...
do you suspect me of, then? Abduction, is that it?
Well, seeing as how we don't know the location, we don't know that she's all right, we're taking it on your good word that she's okay.
I think
and
it's
you don't
time
wanna
for all
tell
of you to
anybody
leave.
else.
I think it is time for all of you to leave. Sir, you've been rather quiet. Perhaps you could escort your friends out? You at least know not to wag your tongue.
I feel like we've gotten everything we can here.
Yeah, I'm good. And as I walk out, I'm just like knocking over books. There's just like a cat knocks over things.
Oh, yes,
All
very
the way
mature, very mature. Thank you.
I will say, as this outburst goes on, because it feels like he's been somewhat honest with us, how does that feel, though? Do I feel like he's still hiding something, or is this the genuine, honest truth that he believes?
Well, you do know that he is mentioned in Dr. Raven's files. I mean, if you wanted to, he's not necessarily going to be inclined to be cooperative, but you've already been fairly confrontational. You could, if you wanted to, just hit him with that stuff, or keep mum. It is up to you. You were also aware of the information in Wallace Phillips' notes. If you will recall, there was mention of Mrs. Holbrook actually approaching Wallace with suspicions of an affair.
And this is where, as I'm walking out and knocking stuff over, I pause and turn back around.
Yes, I thought you were on your way out. Perhaps you'd like to break a vase in the hallway.
What is your relation to Miss Eleanor Birch?
Seems like your family's, not so new to scandal, is it?
And what are you talking about? Eleanor Birch? Yes, I'm acquainted with Miss Birch. But what are you implying?
Well, perhaps an inquiry has been reopened as to the nature of this relationship. Help clear that up for us.
Relationship? Oh, well, I think I know what you're getting at, and I don't know where you heard that sort of nonsense. Look.
You could ask your wife, perhaps.
Oh, of course. Yes. No, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it makes sense. You were friends with that Wallace Phillips, yes. Well, Nancy got some notion into her head, but it was quickly rectified. I met with Miss Birch to give a donation to her rather wonderful charity. Perhaps you've seen their good works. In fact, I know you have. You're familiar with the Daughters of Grace, after all. Well, I was keeping it under wraps because otherwise, everyone wants a piece. Everyone with a sob story comes with their hand out once they find out that you're willing to open your wallet.
Even under wraps from your own wife?
Well, as I said, we cleared things up. Look, you can talk to Nancy if you want. If your friend were still with us, he could tell you. She went to him and explained. I believe she even brought some baking around by way of apology. Now then, are there any other questions?
Yeah.
Any other aspersions you wish to cast on my character?
What was your relationship to Dr. James Raven?
Yes, Dr. Raven. There was a business proposition I had for him. How exactly did you discover this?
I have my ways.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure all of you do.
I'm going to start putting the books that Betty knocked over back up the way that they're supposed to go.
He sort of takes note of that. Well, Nancy had come across some clever little trick to keep her skin lovely and young. It was some sort of mud pack. Certainly not my wheelhouse at all, but I, as a businessman, was looking to market it wholesale. Raven thought it was a fool's errand. He didn't think it was scientific or even healthy to put mud on one's face. But it works wonders for Nancy, and she hasn't so much had a cold in years.
What kind of mud are we talking about?
Yeah.
Again, it was some sort of natural healing
Do you know where
pond, I believe.
where she sourced it? Perhaps
We abandoned it entirely after Raven's outburst.
You know, I know
Means
some.
you don't stand to lose any money from no patents. So which pond are we looking for? Like I said, I want to talk good and look pretty.
I
So where is
think
this
I've been
pond?
quite understanding at this point, so perhaps you'd care to keep knocking over books and exit the premises.
Excuse
and
me.
do know you won't be welcome again. Thank you, all of you. Ingalls! And at the door,
Yes, sir. Books.
have all the books been picked up?
Don't trouble him.
Have all the books been picked up?
I hope so. Yeah, I don't know how many you knocked over, but I was trying my best.
Just a few.
He sort of directs Ingalls, like, Ingalls, see these people out, and then put these books back on the shelf properly.
Yes, sir, of course. Right this way, please, all of you.
Okay, as I'll be let out. I'm fine with that. But as we're heading out, I'll look over at Ingalls and I'll say, coconut oil works really well for my dry skin. You might want to try that.
Oh.
It might also be a fungal infection, so maybe do like an antifungal and then coconut oil to moisturize
Thank
afterwards.
you. Thank you. Are you a doctor as well?
No, just a mother.
Yes.
Ingalls seems friendly with you but you do hear like a shout from behind, like, Ingalls!
Sorry. Good day to you all. See you again.
No, you won't, Ingalls!
I suppose not then. Goodbye.
Don't yell at him.
And the door slams behind you. You think, in fact, that perhaps Holbrook came up and gave it a good shove because Philip Ingalls probably wasn't capable of that.
All right.
What a jerk, am I right?
Yes, it's interesting. You know, we're really trying here, moving forward, but perhaps we don't give too much truth in why we are somewhere and what we're looking for. You know, my forte tends to lean more in the distraction was good, but in concocting stories to bring them another direction.
I was going along the lines of what we was talking about earlier about being students and all.
Yes,
But
You hear the door to the Athenaeum open behind you as Ingalls totters out after you. It's like,
Oh, yes. I'm terribly sorry. I almost forgot. Where's my mind these days? I think it was the examination. I was distracted. But yes. Mrs. Franklin left a note for you. Yes, she asked me to keep it to myself. Normally I wouldn't do such a thing, but Mrs. Franklin said that you were helping organize a birthday surprise for Mr. Franklin. So,
Yeah.
yes, discretion, I understand. Mr. Holbrook's quite upset, but here we are.
he might have gout too. I don't know what's going on with him.
Yes, it's right here.
he reaches into his coat and pulls forth an envelope, which he hands to the nearest of you.
Yes.
He comes in a little closer and lowers his voice.
I heard you talking about young Master Holbrook just then. Poor lad. Ever since he's got engaged, he's been behaving awfully strange. My sister says she sees him crawling around in Potter's Field, if you can believe it, digging in the dirt with his hands and saying all sorts of mad things. Terrible business. In any case, I'd best return. He's in quite a mood. Good day to you.
And he
Field.
makes his way back up the stairs.
He's digging around in Potter's Field, getting this so-called mud, presumably, himself.
Maybe.
Either way, we gotta go see what it is.
Or maybe he's also employed by the same folks that are talking to Mally.
Should we read this out here, or shall we? Let's go back to the apartment, perhaps.
The apartment is
backwards.
rather close, actually.
Step back, and once we arrive, I'll...
Of course. So you return to the terrace building apartments, and within the home of your old friend Wallace Phillips, you open the letter.
My dear new friends, I hope you will forgive the cloak and dagger nature by which this note reaches you. And I'm not really asking you to assist me in planning a surprise for George or whatever it was I told the dear old doorman to get him to keep his lip zipped. Rather, I'm asking you to help me work out what surprise George has planned for me. After we parted ways at the Athenaeum Club, I went skulking after Nancy Holbrook and her friend Gwendolyn. Not an elegant pursuit, I'll grant you. But I got a bee in my bonnet about why they'd suddenly invite me for tea when they've barely spoken to me up till now. And you can tell a girl to stop being a reporter, but that doesn't mean those instructions will take. I overheard them saying something about how she, I assume me, is going on the retreat soon, and something real peculiar about Mother's Pond that made just no sense at all. Now, I'd resigned myself to George sending me on a surprise vacation. He loves me, and if he's trying to do something nice, then I should just accept it with grace. But your words did not fall on deaf ears. You might have thought me a foolish lady, so eager to give up all of who I am just to fit in, just to be the woman my husband wants me to be, and perhaps you're right. But I believe he is a good man who wishes me no harm. And up till this moment, he has always made me feel safe and loved, and that's good enough for me to take it, make it want to stick. But I'll tell you, for the first time in my life, I'm a little frightened. I can't tell you why, there's no reason for it. But the only way I know how to deal with worry is to chase it right down into its lair and find out what the heck it's all about. So I took a look at a map, and the only pond I can fathom they might mean is south of the city. I mean, if you head straight south as a crow flies, you can't miss it. I'm headed out there at 4 p.m. this afternoon, when George will be out at a doctor's appointment and won't miss me. I really hope you'll meet me there. I could sure use the company. Your friend, Pippa Franklin. What time is it?
You have several hours. It's not quite lunchtime yet.
I worry what might happen to her. We should meet her there, don't you agree?
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have 3 locations to look at then, apparently. The address you obtained,
Right.
Potter's Field, and now this southern pond as well.
Potter's Field, is that not a cemetery for where they put lower class individuals or and the like? Is that
Generally those without any family names.
right? Strange to be digging around there. But I wonder, you know, this pestilence that struck so long ago, we don't know where those bodies were buried. I don't know why it would relate to any of this, but it all just seems so strange. This information we found.
Hard to say until we see it, unfortunately.
Well, this Mother's Pond, 4 p.m., south of the city. Where is Potter's Field?
Potter's Field is relatively close, on the outskirts, but the apartment is also located on the outskirts, so you'd be at the north end of town.
But we're going south?
Eventually you'll be going south, but you're much closer to Potter's Field than you are to this
here.
pond. Yes.
I think we should try to go to Potter's Field before nighttime.
Oh, yeah, that's
agree
probably
with
good.
Agreed. Yes.
And we do have some time to kill before going, if we're going to meet her at 4.
All right. So then to Potter's Field next.
I think so.
Yes.
And so you make your way to Potter's Field. Potter's Field is grim in the early afternoon light. Beyond the entrance gate, a rough, overgrown path climbs a small hill leading deeper into the graveyard. This is, as mentioned, a pauper's graveyard, and the many graves are marked with plain wooden crosses or little piles of stone. The best that the unfortunates of Arkham can do to commemorate their loved ones. Some have flowers on them, but they're few and far between. Such as they are, some simple bunches of wildflowers or single daisies, mostly wilted. The graves are not well kept. The graveyard itself is overgrown and weedy. How would you like to proceed?
I don't know, does anything seem unusual about this? I don't spend much time in graveyards myself.
Recent disturbances, I would say, considering the job that we overtook and considering that apparently Cyrus has been digging in this place. Anything
See if any fresh dirt.
He's been digging here, and we were on a job digging in another cemetery. I mean, what is it that they're getting from these bodies? We still don't know what that body was being used for.
No.
What Carl's body?
maybe we just look around for something strange. I mean, a lot of the grass here is long. If he was digging, then most likely there'd be patches.
Yes. Let's have a closer look then.
You are essentially exploring, keeping an eye out. So as you walk through the graveyard, everyone give me spot hiddens, please.
Hard success.
I got a 1.
Oh, well then I think, unless anyone else manages to get a critical success like that.
Unlikely. Just a regular.
Failure for me.
Vic, as you're walking through the graveyard, you're sort of probably all spread out a bit so you can examine more carefully. You see movement among the graves.
What?
Far in the distance, you gather the others and you all approach. Among the graves, you see an unkempt young man rushing about, then suddenly dropping to his knees and clawing at the dirt frantically. He does this again and again a few times. His movements seem very erratic. As you get closer, you can see his eyes are wild and he seems to be talking to himself. Are you going to approach?
This young man seems afflicted in some way.
How would you like to approach it?
Doctor, is there a more appropriate manner for someone in this state?
Hard to say. When someone is consumed with mania, the best course of action could possibly be restraint. I would say we simply be prepared for what he may do, but if we're going to be getting answers, I don't even know if this is Cyrus, but there's only one way to find out.
Right.
Just be ready.
All right, but if he starts swinging, I'm holding him back.
Understood and appreciated.
I'll approach more closely.
As you approach, you can hear what he's muttering.
She's here. She's here. She must be here. They've killed her. They've killed her.
He seems agitated is not the correct word. He's crazed.
Who's here? Who's here?
He looks.
Let us help you.
Who are you? Who are you?
We're friends.
Prince. They've killed her. They've killed me.
He falls to his knees and begins pulling. He rips the tie that's just hanging around his neck and pulls at his shirt, the buttons popping. They've killed me!
No.
Hey.
I can feel it.
No.
I can feel it inside me. It's eating me. Oh, God.
Cyrus.
Doctor, check his throat.
I move forward.
They've killed me.
Who's they?
They did. They're eating me alive. Oh, God, the pain. Please, just let me be with her. I just want to be with my Anna. I just want to be with Anna.
Cyrus, I need you to calm just for a moment.
He grabs you by the lapel.
There's a pain medication,
she
anything.
was perfect. They said they would make her perfect, but she was already perfect to me.
Cyrus, if you want us to help, you need to tell us who they are.
She must be here. I just want to find her and lie down. I just want to be with her.
Who's here?
Please.
He screams in pain and starts thrashing around. Doctor, he is in severe medical jeopardy. His body spasms violently.
Commit first aid. Hard success.
With the hard success, you realize that this spasming is post-mortem. His eyes have rolled back into his head. His body's twitching, but yes, he's dead.
Help him, Doctor, help him. Come on.
He's dead.
What do you mean he's dead?
Post-mortem.
There's a brief moment, and then, from his gaping mouth, a torrent of moths.
Back away.
This time, however, the moths don't merely flutter around you.
Oh, no.
What sort of exposed skin are we talking about on all of you? Just your faces?
Faces and I'd say arms.
Faces, probably.
Now, I should
Forearms.
mention these tiny mandibles are, well, it would probably take about 100 bites to cause a single hit point of damage, but they nick and bleed and sting.
I'm attempting to punch moths.
You're waving your arms. You are like just grabbing and crushing them, and they disperse. And all of you have like tiny little stings and welts on your face, but no damage per se. However, I would like everyone to make a sanity roll.
Oh, yes.
Success.
Congratulations.
Success.
That
Success?
makes sense.
Success?
Failure.
Failure. One
Oh, shoot,
sanity,
it
please.
is a hard success.
Very well. Everyone's quite disturbed by this, but Theodore, you will lose a point of sanity to this. Especially, I think, in concert with what you just witnessed. The
Yeah.
death of Cyrus Holbrook.
After the moths disperse, Theodore's going to turn back around towards Cyrus and just he was just a little boy. Not even 20, maybe. I don't think we should just leave him here.
Spot hidden from everyone, please.
Success.
Failure.
Failure.
Success.
Theodore, Vic. In the distance, you spot something, movement behind a tree. A figure that briefly pops its head out and then withdraws, realizing it's been seen.
We're not
Then
alone.
the figure steps out with hands raised.
I run over to Cyrus and I'm gonna pull him. I'm gonna get on my knees. I'm gonna pull him into my lap. I don't know who this is, but I'm just yelling to out in front of me. Nobody touch him. I don't know who you are, but leave him alone.
It's me. And as the figure approaches, you recognize Peter Simpson.
Peter.
What are you doing here?
I was looking for you. Are you all right?
No, Peter, I don't think I am. What are you doing here?
I'm so sorry. I was asked to speak to you. I'm sorry I've been following you.
It's all right.
But come closer, come. Is
He
fine.
approaches, passing some of the wooden crosses. And, I need to, I'm sorry, did you know him?
No.
You didn't even catch his name.
I haven't been completely forthright with you. There are interested parties. I understand you're conducting an investigation, and it will be easier if you come with me.
Psychology check. Honestly, I want to see if he's being forthright or he's lying. And it's a failure. Hard to say.
This is what he said. If anyone else would like to discern the truth of his words,
Yes. Success.
he seems sincere.
Okay.
I know you. Would you allow us time to at least? Would you like to bury him?
No, we can't bury him.
Or what would you like to do? Theodore, tell us.
I may be able to help. Sir, if you'd help, ma'am.
Do you know who this is?
What are we doing here?
Bring him with us.
Before I hand him over, I'm gonna make sure that his eyes are closed. And if any of you are paying super close attention, Theodore probably lands the smallest kiss on his temple.
So sorry.
It's okay, Peter.
Anybody got a jacket or something? We can't. We're going to hoist him up and carry him to the streets.
Where are we bringing him, Peter?
Here, deeper in the graveyard.
Theodore?
That's...
I'm concerned.
It's just, I don't want Peter to be here either, so...
Of course. But I am concerned that the grave that he was at... He was at a mount, right? Or at...
He looked to be randomly running to different graves,
searching.
and you saw him do it to several graves. He it's not like he managed to unearth anything. He would just be like scraping and scrabbling in the dirt.
Are you comfortable with this?
Yes, let's move him at least.
Of course.
All right.
Yes.
I'm just going to see if I can just hoist him.
Yeah, Betty is more than strong enough
Yeah.
to pick up this kid and throw him over his shoulder. I was going to help. Okay.
It's fine.
Sure. Look, you have to understand, I don't bear you any ill will, and
It's fine. We believe you, Peter.
neither do my associates.
Associates?
Yes, as I say, it'll be easier if...
Lead the way, please.
deeper into the graveyard. Again, Potter's Field is a pauper's graveyard, and as mentioned, most of the graves are simple wooden crosses. Yet, in the older part of the cemetery, there are some headstones, quite old. And there is a mausoleum. Simple, but a stone structure, which Peter leads you towards. In here, it's not going to be easy for you to explain a body,
It's been
particularly...
nothing easy to explain for days.
Yes. Yes, come in. Peter pushes open the door and enters.
I'll follow in.
No, please don't be startled. As you enter the darkness of the mausoleum, you see a figure sitting on its haunches in a long black coat, the collar pulled up, hat pulled down low. It doesn't turn to face you. You have done well, Peter, yes. Yes, I brought them as you asked. Yes, past time that we all talked, I think.
Peter, what is this?
This is Mr. Sleet. Yes, Mr. Sleet, as mentioned, an associate of mine. Yes, Peter, yes. Your friends, they plumb the depths of a mystery, yes. One which vexes us as well. Yes, yes. Good, Peter. No need to be nervous. Nor is there need for you to be nervous. Perhaps there is need for me to fear. You are, and you can see the eyes glittering under the darkness of the hat. Formidable as he looks at Betty.
And Betty still has
As Peter.
Peter on her, not Peter, has
Cyrus.
Cyrus on her shoulder, but she slowly puts her hand on top of her holster.
So long as we are all against the evil that has consumed this man.
Evil. Yes. We would name it such, for it takes the food from our mouths. I bear you no ill will. We have been in conflict before. The night in Christchurch Cemetery. We thought you were with them. But we see now that we have common purpose. We do not bear you any grudge. Misunderstandings happen, mistakes are made, but we are pragmatic, not vengeful. As the figure stands, you see it's still quite hunched in its posture. And through the light, in the light coming through the door, you can see the skin is pale. A pair of sunglasses hide the eyes. But as he speaks, the teeth are broken and misshapen. I hope I do not startle you with my appearance. I am rather further along. Once I served, as Peter does, as an intermediary, but the time for that is past. Soon, I will not be able to walk the streets of Arkham at all. In the daylight, at any rate.
What?
Are you
what
what we
you?
saw in the cemetery?
We have always been here. Always. We were here when Arkham was founded. We can be found anywhere that man inters his dead.
I don't understand it. What are you? Show yourself to us.
I fear it would be somewhat shocking for you. Some of you, and he looks at you, Vic, might be more delicate than others in terms of what they are willing to accept. I would not harm you, any of you, now that I know you are not foes, yes?
We're just trying to figure out some answers. Nobody's being straightforward with us. Tell us what the hell's going on.
I can tell you what we know, no more. You may know more than we. Yes, I think perhaps that is the case. You may be best suited to bring this to a conclusion that is satisfactory to us. They take the dead. They take the food from our mouths, you see.
The grave robbers.
Thieves, yes.
Take the food from your mouths.
You find it distasteful, do you? We serve a function. Do you not understand?
Listen, I've been trying to understand a lot of weird shit lately.
Still, as I say, we are not foes.
I think everyone here, for the mutual interest of seeing this threat that threatens both of us come to a complete conclusion, I think everyone here is willing to overlook certain distasteful things about the other.
Distasteful. As I say, we serve a function. But whatever this force that acts, the ones that set the thieves to their work, it must be stopped.
What do you know?
For the
about these
sake
guys?
of your people and for mine.
All right. We get it. You eat dead people. Awful things are happening. It doesn't matter to me. And quite frankly, there's plenty of people that are probably buried in all of these graveyards that deserve even worse.
So if you've been here, you've seen Mr. Holbrook, presumably.
Holbrook, the name is known to us, yes. He and his good lady wife. You have discerned that they perhaps are persons of interest, I think is the term, yes?
They've been here then. What have they been doing exactly?
We ask that you continue in your endeavors, and we will offer our assistance where we may. Like now, this boy, his death could cause you some trouble with the authorities. Perhaps we may assist. Do not fear. He shall not find himself on our table. The meat, you see, is tainted, sickly, sweet. Those who have died in this way will not fill our bellies, no. But we can ensure that he is not found immediately, lest all of you find yourselves within a cell at the mercy of the police. We will do this for you and more. If we bore you ill intent, perhaps we would take our revenge for those you have slain. Again, he's looking directly at Betty. But as I say, that is not our purpose. Mistakes are made. Misunderstandings happen. There need not be war.
I was being attacked.
Indeed.
My friends are being attacked.
The mistakes I speak of were ours.
If you could tell me right now that ain't gonna happen no more, and you and I are on the same page, and we're trying to find out what's happening here, and with that missing girl.
Yes. We have an accord.
I ain't one to back out on a deal.
Good then, good.
Are you up to speed on human customs?
I walked the streets once as a man, yes. As Peter does now. Peter looks rather nervous. Fear not. I understand. Respect will be shown.
Thank you.
You, again, he gets rather intent. You have suffered loss. You have my sorrows for it.
Unrelated to this.
But still.
But how long have you been part of them? At least 5 years?
Yes. Yes.
Did you ever run into a man named Hank Ashley?
I am sorry. This name is not known to me. But I hope that you find answers and peace, if that is what you seek.
was kind of hoping that you ate him. Or somebody did.
What
I'm fine.
happens to the flesh after the spirit has fled? 'Tis no more than a garment removed. But no, if this man was evil, there are some who say he would be punished for that. I do not know. But for your sake, I hope it is true.
Thanks.
Give us the boy. We will keep him safe.
I want one more assurance.
Then I give you my word.
And they look at Peter.
Yes, of course. I give you my word.
No, listen to me. Whatever this is, just stay safe, okay? I don't understand everything, but I can't watch another little boy die, okay?
Little boy, I'm silence, Peter. Yes. I'll stay safe.
Then I'm on board.
And with that, Betty lowers Cyrus, and now he's just like in her arms.
Mr. Sleet approaches you. His white hands with long, broken nails. Takes the body and effortlessly carries it. Go then. We will be in touch, I think. And the best of luck to all of you.
Thank you.
And with that, you leave Potter's Field, returning to the streets of Arkham. Where would you like to go?
Well,
Are we going to act like what we just saw was fine?
Oh, no, none of it's fine. None of it's fine.
Relatively calm.
For me personally, I'm still trying to process everything that's going on here. None of it's okay. People keep dropping like flies. And now we got these people we're sided with.
Eating corpses.
Eating corpses, no less. I still don't know what the hell's going on.
We have two options moving forward. We can continue to investigate, or perhaps it might be better to move to the apartment for a respite for a time.
No.
We don't have time. We don't have time. Every time we wait is another person being consumed in one way or another.
Yes. I wish I had the words, but something to say to ease all of this.
What can you possibly say in a situation like this?
Only that you can't keep a hand on the rational. I know it seems impossible. I've been told that there are laws and rules that must be obeyed, but I don't think that applies here.
We're way past that. I just keep thinking about those last things that Cyrus was saying when we got to him. From what it sounded like, I don't think Anna's away in a retreat. Anna's not okay. if she's alive. He's looking for her.
I think we're in agreement. She most certainly is not okay, whatever is going on here, whether there is no explanation, but if there has to be an explanation. There has to be an answer. There has to be a way to understand what's happening, and even what we just saw is certainly perhaps they were meaning some other method. The corpse is perhaps a metaphor for something else.
I know one thing is true for me. Everything that has happened in these short hours is still not the worst thing I've ever been through. And I don't think that Anna is all right. I don't think that any of these women, these girls, any of them are going to come out of it unscathed. But I think the least that I can do is just try and put an end to it. And that's where I'm at.
Yes. Yeah, we can help them. We can still help them. There's still a chance.
Yes.
We gotta move, we gotta keep going.
Yes.
Vic,
Yes.
you were the one who opened the door
Yes.
at Wallace's house.
Yes. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And if these things that we're seeing, if they are true, if it is certainly just as they appear to us, these... God, why the moths everywhere? God. If these things are true, then perhaps... God, it means I've failed in the past to see it as well. I thought there must be an explanation. There must be an explanation to everything, and I have waved away things that I've seen before. But perhaps they were true. And I was not able to answer them then, and I don't know how I will now. How would I be capable of doing it when I've already failed to do it before?
We are in a unique position in that whether or not we are best suited to bring this to a conclusion, there is no one else who can. I wish that there were better ways of explaining it by law or reason or fate even, or just the grand cosmic chance. But we are here. And no matter what, I do trust you. I trust all of you. We've come this far in a short period of time. We've done much together, encountered much, and yes, we may encounter worse, but I believe that if there is evil this great and deep, so too there must be good. And if it exists with us. I have to believe at least that, because otherwise everything is hopeless.
Archibald's words hang in the air. Despite the afternoon sun, all of you can't help but feel chilled, standing here outside the chain-link fence surrounding Potter's Field. Where will your feet take you in Arkham? Do you wish to return to Wallace's apartment at the Terrace Building Apartments? You also have an address provided to you by Peter Simpson for what you now know is called the Dinsley House, formerly the property of Mr. Thomas Dinsley.
If all of you are all right, and not necessarily in the sense of it all makes sense or it all works. Obviously it doesn't. But all right in the sense that it may not ever make sense, and it might not ever be right. But there's at least something that we are doing about it. Whoever wrote Wallace that letter knew that he was a good man. And he called on us. And there might not even be answers at the end of it all. But this retreat and these mobs and all of these people, they have so much to give. And if it means at the end of it that I'm rejoining my son, then that's where it leads for me.
Look, all I know is that we are way too deep in this to turn back. If we're at the point where whatever those things were are now our weird allies for some reason, then whoever is up to this, they have our eyes on us. We have a target on our back, and I don't go down without a fight.
Oh. You're right. Now, let us go to the house. We must find something there. All these moths. They're a reminder of her, of Abigail, my sweet niece. They were her favorite. This was hers. She used to tell me she loved butterflies because, you know, they're born anew. They have these shells, they cocoon themselves and they consume themselves in the process. And they're born more beautiful, more perfectly, just for a little moment. And all these people, these moths all around us, it feels as if they themselves are what we're seeking. Are they the butterflies? Are they the moths? Are they? I know so much that she would have loved to see the... I don't know where she is. We never found her. We must find Anna. Let us go to the house. Let us go.
And so, you return to the house you visited that first night, after Christ Church Cemetery, where the body of Carl Lund was dropped in an icebox. 603 East Derby Street, the Dinsley House. In the daylight, it looks like any other house. In fact, much more well-kept than the houses surrounding it. What is your plan? You're standing on the street outside of it now.
We assume that no one is home, correct?
Do we see any indications that there's anyone home?
As mentioned, it's in much better repair than the rather run-down old mansions of this area of town. You're in East Town, on the corner of Derby and Noyes Streets. It is somewhat smaller than the crumbling manses that surround it, but the grass neatly clipped, the paint on the window frames and shutters is fresh and bright. However, it's currently dark and silent. It is daylight, as mentioned.
Is anyone on the street?
No. You can hear traffic a few streets over. Maybe a few blocks down, you can see people walking to and fro, but on this particular block, there doesn't seem to be anyone present. You do know, of course, that there is the heavy set of storm doors, which you entered the cellar, and you do remember that there were, of course, stairs leading up. You are currently in the front. I'll say that, staking out the place, you've gone around and you've seen that there is a back door as well.
Is there a mailbox?
Yes, and in fact, you spotted that mailbox on the first night with the number 603 on it.
So is there any, looking in, is there like, I'm just gonna see if there's anything addressed to anybody in there?
Empty.
What do we want our approach to be?
To be honest, I'm losing patience.
I say we head straight in, perhaps through the back.
I can go through the front in case there is anyone home. I'll keep them distracted.
Perhaps me and Vic could both go through the front and the two of you could case out the back.
Sure. I'll look through some windows on the way, see if there's anybody I can see.
All right, that sounds like a plan of attack.
Theodore and Vic taking the front door. Archibald and Betty at the back door.
We should have a signal in case something goes really wrong.
Did you hear a gunshot?
I concur.
And things have gone wrong.
Well, maybe if it's not that bad, one of us could just say something really loud.
Such as?
Maybe if we're in front of somebody, we could fake like we were about to fall or something. We could say, "Oh, great heavens!"
Oh, great heavens.
Oh, great heavens.
And so,
Understood.
Okay.
with your code word established, you head to the areas you said. So we've got Vic and Theodore in the front, and we've got Archibald and Betty at the back. Both parties find that the doors, their respective doors, are locked.
I look for a hidden key or a potential rock of some kind. A fake rock, if possible.
You are at the back door, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so there's no welcome mat per se, so you're looking around. You do get a little excited when you see there's a plant pot just in a flower bed. You turn it over, nothing under there. Does anyone have any lock-picking skills?
That would be me, and I'm gonna try to pick the lock.
Very well,
think
so
I
you're at the
do.
back door.
I was gonna knock.
Do you want to knock?
All right, so
Just in
Vic
case.
raps
Just
on the
in
front
case.
door.
First.
Vic raps, they wait, no response. Meanwhile, at the back door, Betty, I'm assuming given your line of work and history, you probably keep your lockpicks on you.
All the time.
Very well. So you reach into a pocket, pull out a small leather satchel, which you unroll, and there are a variety of lockpicking tools in there.
However, I picked the wrong one because I rolled 100.
Oh.
The lockpick snaps in the lock, and you realize you probably can't pick this lock now.
First time I've done this. Is this a good sign?
A broken lock pick? Yes. No, it's not a good sign. It's a bad sign. It's a very bad sign. Is there a window?
Yeah, there are windows on the ground floor. You did actually mention that you wanted to check it out. You're tall enough that you can easily look in those windows. Nobody there. Doesn't seem to be anybody home.
Cool, I'm gonna put my brass knuckles on and I'm gonna punch through that window.
Very well. Do you want to maybe cover your hand with something so as you've got a
I
hat?
take gauze out of my bag and wrap
like
her
I'm
hand
right
and then
about to go in.
Wait.
Yeah. So yes, I'd say between you're wearing a hat too, so you can put that on. So yeah, between the gauze and whatever other articles of clothing, you wrap your brass knuckles in some cloth, protecting the flesh of your hand, and without any trouble at all, you've smashed through a window. You actually
Glad.
You could actually break the glass in the back door and like reach in and open it up.
is the door made of glass?
Well, it's got like a little window on it, and I think your arms are long enough.
I would definitely do that, yeah.
Great, so you smash that. You probably knock the glass out of the frame so as not to cut yourself. You did make a little bit of noise. But let me just...
Would we have heard that up front?
Make me a listen roll. Well, I would say they're watching TV, but they don't have TVs yet. So, but in any case, you don't see any stirring in the nearby houses.
Failure.
We both failed.
So, as far as you know, you've rapped on the door, and were you going to try any other means?
As soon as there was
Seems
no
no one's
answer,
home.
and I don't know that this is happening,
Quiet as a
I'm still
mouse.
gonna try and locksmith.
Very well.
Okay.
Please make your roll.
Have you done this before?
Apparently not. That was a 97.
Your lockpick breaks in the front door.
Well, it's good to try new things.
I think perhaps we should just go ahead and meet up with the other two, as I'm sure Betty
You don't think we
found
could?
her way in already.
How solid is this door? Do I feel like I could bash it in?
You're pretty sure Betty could kick it in. What is your strength, by the way?
60?
Might take some doing. But meanwhile, at the back, Betty, you've opened the door. Do you simply go to the front door and let your friends in?
Well, once I get the door open, I signal to the doctor, after you.
I open the door, go in.
The house seems to be empty. You do hear a little bit of rattling from the front door and then snapping sound.
Should we let him in or should we spook him?
I don't think anybody needs to be spooked at this juncture.
I'm still gonna tiptoe over and just see what their situation is.
You see they've clearly had about as much lock picking as
Maybe
you
I can
have.
try bashing it in.
I'm gonna look for a rock.
And as she goes to bat, I'm gonna open it.
Yeah,
As
right.
she's
It's
open the door as she
Okay, so as they go for the door, the door is opened from the inside.
Oh, I've done it, Theodore.
And you're all standing inside the house.
Oh, you're here.
Yes, successful breaking and entering.
Yeah, good job ramming that door open.
Right.
I should mention the house is immaculate.
Oh,
The floors are swept in polish. Fine wooden furniture is gleaming. Sunlight streams in through the sparkling windows, except for the smaller window in the back door. That has been broken. There's not a speck of dust or dirt anywhere. It's elegantly, if simply, furnished.
I'm gonna start going through everything possible.
Spot hidden rolls from
let us be careful.
Close the doors behind us as well.
Can I?
You might want to try to retrieve the broken lockpicks. Perhaps there's a small pair of pliers that could be used for that. Because if anyone shows up, they'll see a broken lockpick in the door.
Yeah.
And can I try? Could I do maybe a stealth roll just to try not to disturb things as we move about and to try to preserve?
Sure thing. Yes.
Stealths.
So first, spot hiddens from everyone.
Certainly.
It's a regular success from me.
Great.
Hard success.
Great.
Success.
Great. So everyone except Archibald. Well, Archibald, you see what I have already described.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'll also give you this, Archibald. Everyone notices this. There doesn't seem to be anything that indicates anyone lives there. There's no photographs. There's no books. Nothing personal at all. I'm assuming you're moving throughout the entire house. You're trying to be thorough. In the bedrooms upstairs, for example, there are no clothes in the closet or in the dresser drawers. For those who made their spot hidden, the beds, while immaculately made up, smell a little musty, as though fresh sheets were put on them years ago and have not been used or changed since. You also notice, who got the hard success? Yes, Vic, you notice this in particular. The hard surfaces of the house, the dining room table, kitchen counters, and even the floors and windows have a slightly odd sheen, a barely perceptible pattern of swipe marks, not made by a cloth. And that was a hard success, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
You can't help but think that these look like they've been licked clean.
Strange.
And you cast your mind back, you recall the basement, the table. There was an odd gloss to it. You didn't get a chance to examine it fully that night, but yes, that strange patina. All in all, the house appears simultaneously to be extremely well cared for and entirely abandoned. There's a door from the kitchen, which you assume leads down to the cellar. It's latched from this side, with a rather heavy latch barred across it. In the kitchen, a lovely tea service is on display in the big Welsh dresser. And that is what you see in this search of the house. Of course, it is possible to unlatch the cellar door from this side.
Strange. You might notice this sheen to all of these surfaces. Do you think it quite resembles as though it's been licked clean?
Gross. Elaborate. What are you talking about?
Vic points to these strange, small swipe marks. Again, nothing that would mar things particularly, but I'm assuming Vic carries a magnifying glass with them.
Yes.
Not to be a stereotypical
As you
detective,
can see here. Oh.
So this place, that looks like it's not lived in, is apparently super clean because it's being licked continuously? Is that what the conclusion is?
Is it
It's being
human?
licked clean? We're licking things
I
now.
mean, I am simply stating an observation.
Does it,
Yeah,
does it smell? Like, if I'm just leaning in, smelling it, like, what is it? Like, does it smell like saliva? Or does it smell bad? Does it smell? I'm sorry, you entered it into the scene. I have to smell it.
If anything, there's a slight floral scent to it. Sweet.
The spit, it doesn't smell too bad, not gonna lie.
Anyway, this is inconclusive. Shall we check the cellar?
I pressed my ear up against the cellar. You said the cellar was barred, correct?
From this side.
Can I listen to hear if there's anything inside?
Listen roll, please.
Failure.
Failure.
Hard success.
Betty's pretty sure she doesn't hear anything.
Okay.
I think we're in the clear.
All right, well, how are we getting through this?
It's barred.
Let's see.
Is it?
No, it's just like barred, but from this side. So it's just a matter of like,
Just like
unbar
unlatching it?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
In the cellar, it's a cool, clean area with a neatly swept dirt floor. There's a long wooden table pushed against one wall and a 6-foot by 3-foot icebox against the other. Of course, you have seen this room before. If you check the icebox, it is empty and spotlessly clean. You know that Carl had suffered some pretty horrible wounds when he was placed inside it. Like, he definitely would have bled all over this. There would have been quite the mess. And in fact, you recall from the night, it was, you just had that swinging light bulb to illuminate the place, but he was definitely, there was a blood trail.
That's
not the case.
Sheen?
The same sheen.
It appears the licking has made its way to the cellar as well.
Also, there's a small set of shelves nestled underneath the stairs. Upon them, these shelves, neatly stored, there were a few tools. A handsaw, 2 sets of pruning shears, a trowel, a small fork for weeding, some neatly stacked pot plants, and a couple of buckets. Most of the items are a little dusty, and the trowel has some rust on it, but the pruning shears and saw are clean and sharp, and so are the buckets.
So were those also for licking and not for digging dirt?
The table, of course, yes. When you look at it, that same patina is on it.
Is the lockbox still, or is the icebox still have a lock on it?
It is sitting to one side.
So it can be open?
Yeah, and as I say,
I'll check, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is
Yeah,
it
you-
clean inside?
all clean inside.
Is the table that's down here, is it wooden?
Yes.
Is there any staining underneath the saliva?
Again, it's much like the tables and surfaces upstairs, like spotlessly clean, this strange, almost gloss to it.
All right, there's got to be something here. This can't just be. And I'm just gonna start moving things around, looking for loose floorboards, looking for anything that could be hidden in the
Dirt floor.
Oh, dirt floor.
Oh.
And again, like very neatly swept dirt floor.
Okay.
So any like the walls. What are the walls? Anything that?
You spend some time like doing the old knocking for hollow bits of the wall, and no, this house is empty.
Okay.
And again, you get the feeling that even more than, say, a hotel room or something, if just nothing lives here.
How big is this room?
It's probably about 20 by 30 feet, cellar.
And is there a shovel that you said?
There is a small trowel.
Well, we ain't finding anything in here because they're eating people.
Yes, they have left it completely clean, it would appear.
Can I do something and none of you will judge me?
At this point, absolutely not. No judgment here.
Are you gonna lick this table?
I'm gonna lick the table.
How'd I know?
Very well, you lick the table.
And not like, and I'm not doing like a little like cowardly like, I'm like,
Full on licking the table.
I'm getting a stripe.
Yeah. Again, almost floral taste. What was it that Sleet said? Sickly and sweet.
It's gross. Don't do that.
Well, now that you've told me not to.
I think we've exhausted our time here.
I'm afraid so, I agree.
I will be generous and say that, yes, you had a small pair of pliers in your lockpicking tools.
That I could remove.
And you removed not one, but two broken lockpicks from the front and back door. And so you return to the terrace building apartments, perhaps to regroup, digest the information you've received. Question, I assume you're keeping the pertinent documents with you, or have you been keeping them at the apartment?
Well, you got your doctor's bag with you, right?
Yes,
Have them
we
with
would
us.
keep evidence on us.
Very well. All of the papers and whatnot that you've gathered, including, of course, the notes you've been making, are with you. When you arrive back at the terrace building apartments, you see a young fellow who's marching up to your door, as a matter of fact. And he raps on the door with you behind him and then turns and he sees, I assume, Theodore with the key in her hand. Are you the residents?
Can we help you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've been entrusted with this message. And he tips his hat and says, "Thank you for using Arkham Messenger Service."
Oh, is that what? Okay. Thank you. We don't owe you anything, do we?
Oh, no, I've been paid.
Okay. Go ahead.
By the sender.
Which is?
I believe it was a Miss Eleonora Birch.
All right. Thank you for your time. We'll take it from.
I mean, a tip is sometimes traditional.
We're not very
Wow.
traditional, we're very modern. Thank
see.
you.
No, I flip him a. He's working. It's not his.
You flip him a quarter?
I flip him a quarter.
Oh, a quarter. Yeah, he's like, oh, well, say, thank you very much, man. He continues on his way, and you find within the envelope an invitation to join Miss Eleonora Birch for tea at 456 West Saltonstall Street in Uptown.
Put on your fancy faces, because we're invited for tea. As I read this thing out loud.
Finally, a cup of tea.
Suppose I wouldn't
Birch.
find a spot myself. How many hours do we have until?
Oh, still another 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours.
I think that's right away then. Is she the leader or just a member of the Daughters of Grace? Is that not correct?
I thought she was leading.
That's what I had thought.
Yeah.
That's certainly what you've been told,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, well, perhaps she can shed some light on the exact relations with Mr. Holbrook. Or lie to our faces. Either way, it will tell us something.
Agreed. Arkham, of course, is not a big town, and so in short order, you find yourself at 456 West Saltonstall Street. Miss Birch's home is a pleasant but unassuming two-story colonial home set back from the street in a tidy, welcoming garden. There's a swing set on the porch, and as you approach the front door, the sound of female voices chattering and laughing can be heard through an open dining room window. The door opens, and you are greeted by a smiling and stylishly dressed woman.
Oh, you must be my investigators. Come right in. We have so much to talk about.
And we'll end this episode of Graveyards of Arkham there. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.